Yes, fellas, welcome to another Numbers Game Premier League preview. This is from round 21, Wednesday's games. We've got a tasty little North London derby in there, and then we've got a new manager bounce, Everton against Villa, Leicester Palace, and Newcastle United against Wolves. We've got two accas for you here. They're almost the same, but we couldn't agree on the final leg. First acca comes in around 8-1, and the second acca a massive 14-1.
First one, Everton Villa. Moyes back in the dugout at Goodison Park. There's going to be a good feeling around it. Villa have been inconsistent at best, and I
Yeah.
reckon for this one I'd put Everton or draw. That's my
Mate,
initial
that
thought.
both of these videos. In the first one, you did both teams score. That I've got Everton or draw in this one as well. Literally got the
Yeah,
exact same pick.
nice.
I think Villa have struggled for goals this season. Only obviously Duran or Watkins have and Morgan Rogers have been scoring goals for them.
Is
And
Johnson still suspended, or did that?
Duran is
Yeah,
think he's still suspended for this one. But
yeah.
you can't have Duran and Ollie Watkins on the pitch at the same time, really. So you've basically got one of Watkins or Duran and Rodgers scoring all the goals, and it's not enough for them.
Especially missing Dwight McNeil. He's like created the most. He's created something like fucking 70% of the chances. Of
Yeah,
so
all from
stupid.
set pieces.
Yeah, but that
uh,
might change now under Moyes. With his free
yeah,
flowing attacking football.
I think that they'll be better. I think they'll definitely be better. Leicester versus Crystal Palace now. This is quite a difficult one because I have a Crystal Palace bias for some reason, and I always think that Crystal Palace are playing really well and are a really good side and are
And they rarely
eighth
are.
or ninth in the Premier League, and they're just not. They're 15th and
Oh no, they
struggle.
had an awful start to the season after everyone thought Glasgow was going to come in and do amazingly, and now
Well,
they have
yeah,
turned it around. Like if we go team stats last 10, let's say 30% clean sheets, conceding at the same rate as scoring though. Van Nistelrooy's turned out exactly as I said. They're already saying like, "Are we any better under Van Nistelrooy?" No,
no,
the
all you
fuck. Of
balls.
course you're not going to be than Steve Cooper. Obviously not.
Steve Cooper is a brilliant manager, but he was I overrate Steve Cooper as well.
You
Steve Cooper is
fucking love Steve
he's a very
Cooper.
good manager for me, but he wasn't a good fit at Leicester. But that doesn't mean that a guy who's literally got 1 year of experience and hasn't achieved anything of note is going to
He's
come
just
in and
got a big
start
name
playing
and he's
expansive
handsome.
football. Yeah, and when they had Steve Cooper, they were what, like 15th or something in the league. They weren't in the relegation zone, and
No.
they weren't playing expansive football, but they were doing enough. Are you really going to trade staying in the Premier League for playing slightly more expansively with a squad who aren't capable of doing it? I just don't see it.
I said it at the time.
Mm.
It just doesn't change anything. Swapping managers at that level for a slightly worse manager is not going to move the
I
needle.
think it
I mean,
makes it
okay.
worse. They will have
Well,
wanted to
let's
play.
pretend they think that Van Nistelrooy is a better manager. Like, it's still not going to move the needle at that kind of point in the season for a team like Leicester. They can't be coming up and expecting to win every game.
I think you could make an argument to say that if they were going from a Van Nistelrooy to a Steve Cooper, i.e., they were going from an expansive manager where it wasn't working to a more pragmatic
Yeah, you're
manager that
right.
had
Yeah,
experience, that could move the needle. But going the other way, when you're in the relegation battle with a squad that isn't good enough already, is only going to lead in one direction. So I don't have any
I can't
sympathy for them
disagree.
anyway because they
I
broke all
don't.
the PSR rules in the Championship to force a promotion. And then now that they're promoted, if they go down next season, if they go down this season, Leicester, which it looks like they will, the EFL mate are queuing up to hit them with points deductions and fee and penalties and everything
Why is
for
that?
because when they in their promotion season they broke all the PSR rules, but the EFL don't have any jurisdiction over them while they're in the Premier League. What's your prediction for this one then?
Probably a Palace win. They're a better side. They're a better coach side. A really boring game. Maybe
Yeah,
like a 2-0, nothing to write home about sort of game.
yeah. I think to illustrate the point about Steve Cooper, I think Palace will be better suited against Van Nistelrooy's Leicester than Steve Cooper's because Leicester will try and play, they'll try and go forward and score goals, and Palace will just sit and hit them on the counter with Eze, Mateta, and Sarr and five at the back and just play through them. So I agree. I think Crystal Palace will win this one as well.
The AI is obviously given not giving it that high a chance, but the bookies fancy it as well if you look at the odds.
Yeah, big favourites, Palace. Big
Mm.
favourites. Newcastle against Wolves. I think of all the games that we've talked about so far, I think this is probably the most one-sided. This is the one that could be 4 or 5.
Who the fuck is the Wolves manager?
Vitor Pereira, I think he's called. The most Wolves
Right.
manager sounding name ever.
Probably got brought in for 20 million in Jorge Mendes' back pocket.
I think he is. I think it is along those lines. But in his defence, I've actually watched a fair bit of Wolves recently. Don't ask me why. But that's because I've watched every Premier League game on TV for the last month and a half. I think that Newcastle are they're clearly the informed team in the Premier League at the moment, apart from Liverpool probably. Including Liverpool now. They just look so good when you watch them play. Like their midfield they've got three bastards in midfield. So I think if there's one midfield you don't want to play against in the Premier League, it's Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, and Joe Linton. Like, make
And
your life
Bruno's going
difficult.
to circle you like a vulture running around after
Yeah.
you. Joe Linton's going to kick you and elbow you to bits, and then Tonali's going to nick your dough off you.
Yeah. Yeah. Tonali's going to snap you because he's got fucking 50 grand on him to get booked. Vitor Pereira, what I was going to say on him was that Wolves do look better since he's come in, definitely, but they've had Cunha suspended. They've had injuries to their centre half, so they've been playing Eight Nori at centre half and stuff. So the injury hit team at the moment, and they're going to Newcastle, which is one of the hardest places to go at the minute. So I just think this will be one-sided as fuck.
Yeah.
Isak's in incredible. He's the best. I know it says that he's
Is he
injured here,
injured?
but Howe said that he was injured for the FA Cup, but I think it was just to give him a rest. They said that I think he's back in training and everything, so I wouldn't look too much into this. I'm pretty sure he'll be playing, and I think that he's the best. Well, he's defo the best striker in the Premier League at the moment, but
Yeah.
I couldn't think of another striker off the top of my head. And yeah, you might say Gyökeres, but jury's still out on him, mate, because when he came to Bloomfield Road, he did nothing. So I think Isak's up there as one of the best strikers in the world at the moment. I think if you paid 120 million for him, that'd be good value still.
So I'm
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
jealous when Newcastle got him, but obviously his injury record is the only one thing that lets him
Yeah,
down.
but he still scores you 25 goals a season despite only playing
Mm.
25 games. So it's like Newcastle as a club are not a club who look after the players particularly well, I don't think. Like they never like Howard just runs his players into the ground. They don't seem to look after the players particularly well. They're always having injuries. So I think if a top club bought him and rotated him, took him off earlier and left him out of cup games and stuff, I think he'd be fine and he'd be an absolute elite striker. I'm going to go with Newcastle to win this one by 2 or more.
So you just put team stats last five. I want to see what Wolves' defence is saying under the new fella. Not too bad, yeah. Because in my head, Wolves are like this perennially really tight side where I don't know why. I don't know where it's come from. I always think that Wolves keep like bare clean sheets and shit. But
They used to, didn't they, when they had Nuno in
yeah,
charge? That'll be
that's
it.
that's what that is it still for me now. I always look at Wolves and I think, oh, fancy them
Yeah.
to probably keep a clean sheet or at least keep the score down. But it's not bad. 1.2 a game in the last five.
It was
It's not exactly a
they
good
were really
sample.
poor under Gary O'Neill defensively. I know that their XG against across the season is not that bad, but look at the goals against across the season. They've been conceding nearly 2 goals a game.
Arsenal, Tottenham, the North London Fakir derby.
Personally, having watched Arsenal again a fair bit recently, since Saka got injured, they just don't look anywhere near an elite, like as elite as
No,
they did.
and you knew that the set piece goals could only sort of sustain them for so long because they're playing Premier League teams at the end of the day, and like they had this sort of novel approach to they had these really good routines for the set pieces, but there's only so long that's going to last. I think
Well, Tottenham are
Arsenal
one of
win
the only
this one.
teams in the Premier League, aren't they, that don't have a set piece coach. So I think
I
they're
didn't
they're
know that.
definitely sustainable, and they've got that's susceptible to conceding set pieces. Sorry, and they've got the new keeper who just signed in January, played against Liverpool and Tamworth since then, and he's not conceded a goal. So fair play to him. But
I know
is he
keeping
going
the
to
mighty
be?
Tamworth out.
Yeah, is he going to be up to quality of being able to defend against Arsenal set pieces when you know
No, is he
other
fuck?
keepers
And
like
Arsenal
Vicario
go and
are?
put it on his head. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this one. I honestly think Arsenal could win this like 3-0.
No, I don't. I
Yeah, I
don't. I
do.
don't.
I do.
I've also have been a bit calamitous recently. Like they miss so
I
many
know, I
chances in some
agree,
of these
but
games.
Spurs have been more calamitous. That's the point for me.
Look at that, 3.7 xG against Newcastle and didn't score. Some of the chances that Havertz missed against Man United were
I
outrageous.
know, I know. Can I just
Uh,
say, 3.7 XG. You know when
Hmm.
Liverpool beat United 7-0, their XG was
Yeah.
like 2.7.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous amount. But that's a good thing for Arsenal. I honestly think Arsenal 3-0. I
I
think
think
Spurs are
that
fucking terrible, mate.
they beat
Like,
Liverpool.
absolutely awful.
You,
Yeah,
you,
in the
you.
cup,
This is
man.
another thing that we disagree on. You hate the Spurs, as in like you think they're terrible. You think Angie's shit,
I've had a
don't you?
Spurs kit. I like Spurs as a team. I want them to do well, but I feel like they just annoy me because they're so Spursy.
The defense is horrendous, mate, because they've been decimated by injury. Which I know that other clubs are the same way. They've been decimated by injuries too. But when you look at their back
That's
four,
what's so
mate,
Spursy. Just look at that fucking recent form. All right,
yeah,
you just said they beat Liverpool. Then they go and draw. Did you see the starting 11 as well? Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I
they've got a
watched
lot of
it. I
injuries,
watched
but it was
it.
their full strength side.
Not quite. I mean, they didn't have
It was.
Kulusevski, Son, Johnson didn't
Yeah,
start,
but
but full
they
strength
still
back
had
four, Madison, yeah.
they still
I
have
mean, they played
Werner,
Timo Werner
Madison,
up front,
Basuma, was
mate.
it?
Yeah, yeah. Timo Werner he's a stinky footballer. Him, I wouldn't have him at
I
Blackpool.
know.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, mate. I couldn't be arsed watching him every week.
Who started over him?
Oh, Kyle Joseph, mate. Kyle Joseph. He's got like 9 goals
Nice.
this season. How many's Timo
Wow.
Werner got? Right, Timo Werner this season has got one, has he? Yeah, one
Mm.
goal. He's fucking useless, mate. He's absolutely shite. I understand why they
You know,
bought
you know
him,
they've
but
yeah,
he's
but
shit.
no, they didn't. They've got him on loan for 6 months, and
Sorry.
then they extended it, so it's going to
Yeah.
be 18 months.
Yeah, well, I think they got him in because he was easily available, probably cheap, rapid, and therefore can do a job at a Premier League because he's got good touch and everything. He's a footballer, right? He's quick, so he's always going to be useful. But
Yeah,
just can't finish his dinner. He's useless in front of goal, and it's so frustrating to watch. But I think in this one, given Arsenal, having watched them recently, they just miss so many chances, and then that puts pressure on the defence, who then I just wouldn't be surprised to see Spurs score in this. I really wouldn't. And I think Arsenal could win like 2-1. So
I
I
think Arsenal to
personally,
win 10-0. That's what I'm
so
saying.
yeah, I'm going with both teams to score.
Both teams to score.
Yeah,
You're tapped.
yeah. Well, look at Arsenal's last 4 games. Conceded to Brentford, Brighton, Newcastle, and Man United.
Yeah,
And then before that, they
United.
conceded to Crystal Palace twice. No, 3 times in 2 games. They conceded to Fulham, so they've got a really good defence, but they do concede goals, and Tottenham do, for their bit, typically score goals. I mean, and it's a North London derby, so that comes in from mine comes in at 9.5,
I
eight to
love the way
one.
that we've run from it high from it. All we do is make all our picks and stick it in an acca. The worst possible strategy.
Exactly. So mine's
So
8 to 1.
Everton
What's
Villa.
yours?
I'm just checking now. Everton
Double.
Villa, both teams to score. Yeah, double your
You've gone both teams to score.
No, sorry, I just read the
Double
wrong
chance,
thing out loud. Double chance. Yeah, I always click on the wrong thing. I always click on both team score when I mean double chance. I think it's like a dyslexia thing.
probably, mate.
Now, what was it? Leicester Palace to win. This is going to be tasty. We're at 2-1 already. Newcastle to win by 2 or
Be
more.
careful,
Because
mate. I know what you get like.
Newcastle to win the match by 2 or more. I don't need to put on that as well. And
No,
then the last pick. This is the big one. Arsenal to win to nil.
you tap goom.
Check me out.
What you coming in at?
14-1, baby.
Woo! So I've got an 8 to 1. If you like this video, please drop a comment on it, like the video, and please subscribe to us. It makes a massive difference. We appreciate everyone. Nice one, lads. Peace out. Cheers.
That was the outro, you know, but
Yeah, I know. I
you
did
did the
both.
intro and outro. You did, yeah.